pure cowboy shit.
Welcome back to the Brahma Boot Studio from Calgary, Alberta. And welcome back to the show. My name is Ted Stoven. He is James Foley. And this is Cowboy Shit. Thank you for joining us this week. What do you got?
Little stain on my sweater.
Is that some bullshit?
Yeah. Yeah, this is real life shit right here.
I got some spaghetti sauce on mine from earlier.
Hell yeah.
Gotta wash it.
It
Gotta be
happens to
careful
the
with that
best of
spaghetti
them.
sauce.
Oh, on a white or gray? You're pooched, man. That's a chore. That's a chore sweater now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that cleaned up. Ah,
That thing belongs to the pens.
ah, thanks for joining me this week, James. I appreciate this. Thanks for making this work tonight.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to be here.
Okay, and
Couple
today's
couple
Monday,
big
May
weeks.
12th, and the Leafs they were up 2-rip. Now they're tied. So it's best of three with the Panthers. How do you like your chances?
Oh, not good. Not good.
Oh,
Panthers
really?
are yeah, man, Panthers are wagging.
Well,
They're wagging, man.
did you see they have Paulina Gretzky in their fan club now too?
Yeah, see, like how do you beat that? Who do
You're
we got Justin Bieber, man. That's all
you're
we got.
you're pooched now that Paulina's on there. Even Gretzky was at the game with Dustin Johnson the other night and Paulina.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pooched. I hate
Couple
to say
couple
it, Leafs
champions.
fans, but
Leafs in seven, but I mean that's wishful thinking, I think.
I hope you're right. And I hope that well, the Oilers are up right now in game five. They really somehow pooched game four. They're up in game four. They really pooched game three somehow. That was a little rough. Quite the ending. It's quite
Yeah.
disappointing.
Are you shitting on Skinner?
I don't know where he was in that last goal. He kind of was not even close to the net, so that was a little bit weird. But I can't crap on a goalie. I'm the goalie. They got to get past five of those guys first, and they were all running around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off.
He was missing the net and it went off Draisaitl.
Yeah, but Draisaitl was trying to stop it. His intention was trying to stop it. He wasn't trying to put it in the net.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Edmonton fans shit on Skinner a little too much.
Um, you're probably right. But he might totally redeem himself in this game. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
TBD.
He pulls out a SO here.
Yeah.
You guys are
Oh.
giving HJs and BJs heavy to that guy. As Oiler fans, man, my
He is
Facebook's gonna be blown up.
Skinner is the best goalie ever. He's so
Skinner
good.
is the best.
Did you see? I saw this. I just saw the stats roll across the board where they're like, yeah, Skinner's one of the top four goalies ever in game fours. And it's like, well, all right, I guess
This
you
is
play him in
it.
game four.
Yeah, this is where he shines.
Yeah. Anyways, it's been a big week. I got to kick off the show first off and send condolences to everyone in Pinoca right now, the entire Vold family. We lost Blair Vold just on Sunday morning. Um, Blair was a pillar on the Pinoca Stampede side of things, VJV for many years. Just the word that comes to my mind is like just icon in the Pinoca Stampede landscape. Man, he sponsored. I'm pretty sure there'd be stories, and I think he told us on the show a while like back last winter about like I don't know if he gave Rod and Denny Hay a truck for a number of years, but I think he also gave him access to his plane, like to his private like plane, and he flew those guys around rodeoing for years, and like I know VJV was on Roddy's like Shaps and Vest for years, and um, I don't know, I don't know all the details, but we did tell some fun stories with Blair when we did that show with him last winter with him and Donnie Johansson and Dwayne Robinson as well. It was a really fun visit to catch up with those guys, and we got some golf in, in that stretch there, and I don't know, just the fun we had that day with Donnie and Dwayne and Blair. Like I think Jim Nevada was with us too. But we just had such a fun time, and like I remember going to Jim's pond with those guys too, maybe during the COVID summer, and like anytime I spent time with Blair, it was memorable. I can say that, and I always wanted to be part of the Pinoca Stampede. I think I went there for years just hanging out, being around it. But Blair was always the guy and led the production for a number of years and was just a big part of that rodeo and hiring the different acts and hiring the different people that were part of it. I want to say he hired different announcers over the years and brought in a lot of different people and his family there was there for years, and John Vold as well, and one of the pioneers of the music business in the rodeo world in Canada, and John. And I know Blair was really close with Donnie and Jim, and we had a party for Donnie on Saturday at the pond. And the only thing we really missed was Blair there. Everybody else was there, and we missed having him there. And I think he was there with us in spirit, having one more with everybody that night, and celebrating that way. So we'll miss you big time, Blair. But we got to remember the good times because there was a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fact, man. He's
Well,
a legend in Canadian rodeo, man,
absolutely.
and an icon to Pinoca. So
Absolutely. And for those that don't know, Blair's son is Nansen Vold. One of his kids is Nansen Vold, part of the Vold Rodeo crew now. Um, he's a pillar in Canadian rodeo now, and the bull riding side of things. Being a bull
yeah,
man, like Nansen is a major part of that world at this point too. And I don't know what else to say. This is always a tough one, but we'll miss you, Blair. When we have more information on service and whatnot on Blair and what's happening that way, we'll let you all know that as far as that goes.
tough,
Mm-hmm.
real tough.
Real tough. It was a fun week though. We had the party for Dawn. We had the show the PBR shows in Brooks and Camrose on the weekend. I had a big birthday on Thursday that turned 35. Donnie's party turned 70. What else? We're in the middle of it's mental health month too, right? James, it's mental health month this month, and we got we
Yes,
got a
sir.
got a big show this week too. PBR World Finals are underway. The first weekend, Jose Vitor Leme, I think he's only got to go 4 for 4, wins like $197,000 the first weekend of the finals. That used to be what people would win on the entirety of the finals. A guy can win like $500,000 at this finals in the next little bit, but I do got to knock, like we just had Gleason on the other day, but I got to knock it a little bit. Like those guys at the bottom end of it are still not making any money. Ashton Sully goes all the way to
Zero.
Texas, probably got to buy a hotel for the week. He doesn't get $1 for going there for the week, and he's part of their show. He didn't get even the show up check. The show up check's only 2,000 now. It used to be 5,500 to make the world finals. They've top loaded that a little bit. Good for Jose to win that much money. There's a lot of guy wins 50, 60, 70,000, but you're still starving those bottom guys. I know that overall it's maybe making him more, but like Ashton's gonna go down there. It's gonna cost him $5,000. Gonna put him in a huge hole. Of course, he could have rode a bull. That's easier to said than done. But I don't know. I think those bottom end guys are still starving. You're still starving them a bit too much.
Yeah, especially when your expectations to be there, right? Like, in Ashton's case, like you're the invite. He could have turned it down, but
You're not gonna.
yeah, you have to go, man. That's the Super Bowl of bull riding for Ashton. He's not trying to make the NFR. He's trying to make the World Finals and do good. Now he did draw heavy,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. He
Power
drew
buckers every
pretty,
night.
yeah, power buckers every night. Like, and the first night he set up with Yahoo from DH Cattle. Like, I think he was marked 45.5 or 45 3/4 the last night.
Gosh.
Man, tough for Ashton. And then it's a pick after that. So,
Yeah.
he was bucked off in like 2 point something. And then, of course, then you're in the toilet bowl of the round.
Yeah. Not set up easy on those guys. But
No,
it's a huge thing for Ashton though. Like a guy like that, he's pretty early on in his career, like only, I think he's early 20s.
early
I don't
20s.
I don't know whether it's a fact, but I'm gonna say he's 23 or 4. And to get that experience at that level and be around those guys, like that's gonna light a fire under that guy's ass coming back home
Yeah.
for the summer.
But
And he still has a couple chances. There's still chances he could still ride his way in if he kicks some ass on Wednesday and Thursday, like today and tomorrow, as far as the finals go. So we'll see. It
yeah,
ain't
man,
over
I'm
yet.
I'm I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, we all are, the entire country. And then World Finals, there's the Wednesday, Thursday show, the kind of redemption rounds. They're only taking, I think, 25 to AT&T, but then you've got Kid Rock's Rock and Rodeo on Friday the 16th, and then the World Finals finish up at AT&T Stadium the 17th and 18th. So big week there. The WCRA just had their qualifiers. I think it was Corpus Christi. They just finished that off. and finished out their team, the Free Riders. So she's rocking and rolling. I mean, another big week in Texas, but we just had a big week up here. Fully a couple shows. We had the Brooks, we had the Coy Larson Memorial PBR on Friday, May 9th. And then on the 10th, it was the Coy Robbins Invitational in Camrose.
Back to back PBRs, two
Yeah.
different champs, lots of
Yeah.
bull rides.
Yeah, a lot of bull rides. It started off a little light for us in Brooks, as far as bull rides went on Friday night, but then Jake Gardner starts heating it up and goes 3 for 4, wins first and sixth. I think
Pay the
yeah,
man.
pardon? Pay the man. Yeah, exactly.
Pay
Pay the
the
man.
man.
And then you had Cody Coverchuck go and kick butt in Camrose.
I I I didn't know how he was going to do in Camrose,
Yep.
but he picked Jim's bull in the short go, and man, what a perfect match for him. 88 and a half.
Okay. You know who else I
I
saw made
think
a really
so.
good ride was Garrett Green.
Yeah, man,
Maybe
Garrett's
one or
handy.
two rides. It was good stuff.
So standings still Jake in first, though, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, after that
Yeah.
win in Brooks. What's next on your schedule, Foley?
Where did we go next? Meadow Lake, maybe?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then we got we got a couple weeks off, so just catching up on some calves, getting calves bucked who were in away on the weekend, and then the ABBI stuff starts in June. So
Of the ABBI, did you have to take that really big check to a really big bank to cash it?
uh no, you ever see Happy Gilmore
Yeah,
when he gets mad that he didn't get a big check,
yeah,
and then they just start giving him big checks? That's what I did. I didn't
yeah.
win. I just wanted a big check, so they gave me a
Oh,
big check. It's an IOU.
that's the
They're
only
as good.
take. They're as good as money. It's the only kind of
Yeah,
check you take is the big one.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
If he's getting a big check, I want a big check.
It says champion.
Yeah, no, it's from Lloyd 2017.
Yeah, not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I had to put something there.
I like it. I like the hockey equipment in the background too.
Yeah, it's Canadian.
It's
We're
real,
just trying to,
real life.
it's real life shit.
Yeah, yeah. There's actual shit on my shirt from working, eating pasta
Exactly.
tonight, eating spaghetti. There's pretty average spaghetti sauce on my sweater tonight.
We grind it. Just shows the boys are grinding.
Yeah, out there grinding. Have you got anything else before we get to the show this week? This was a fun one to record with Luke Branquinho. I had a good time chatting with him.
No, I think it's going to be great. And once again, man, mental health week or month.
Hmm.
There's tons of resources out there. Everybody has somebody that'll listen. Um, yeah, man, it's a very, very, very important month.
How have you been doing? How's your mental health? Let's do a little quick check in.
But not bad considering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Last summer, lost my job obviously out of nowhere, and then we've just been grinding. I'm working at another place now and doing the bull thing. Life's happy, beautiful girlfriend, two dogs. We're killing it.
Yeah.
Everybody's healthy. There's a lot of people in a lot worse situations, so
That's
you just gotta
true.
be thankful. And you? What about your personal life here the last little bit?
I want to say I've been pretty good. There's a couple lapses like I know well it's pretty cool. So Donnie, for those that don't know, Don Johansson and I are really really close. Some days I'm the number one son, some days I'm number two to Cade, just depending on what's going on. I was definitely number one after helping organize the party at Jim's house the other night. We had a lot of fun. Jim's got a pond and a golf green at his house and like a little shack he built out of
Yeah,
a couple of sea cans. Like it's beautiful though. Like I would live there in a heartbeat. It's amazing. Uh, the big dock that you can fish off of, the pond is stocked with fish. Like such a cool setup he's got. So we're hitting balls at the green and whatnot, and Donnie's really happy that I was able to put this party together for him. And I was kind of choking up a little bit, and then his son Cade, he got me a bottle of scotch for my birthday, and it was a Glenlivet. And my dad, like I was tearing up because my dad was a big Glenlivet guy forever. That was
yeah,
like his go-to every day for a long time. So I was having a tough one. Like for me, losing dad this winter was really tough, but I was so thankful I had Bree there with me. She was a rock the whole time. She really helped me get through that day and the next day and the next weeks and the next months. And she's been such a solid, solid partner to have with me. And her family's been great to me, and they got me these really cool pictures actually for my birthday. There's these I saw them on Facebook. They were showing them off. There's these couple little there's two that
Oh
are
yeah.
identical, these little drawings. So her grandma and her mom got me those and her grandpa. Super cool little pictures. So I'm getting some art for my house and whatnot, but like uh I've been doing okay, James. I'm pretty good. I've been home lots this year, but I definitely was pretty depressed in the month of February. I kind of didn't get away. I was home the whole month. I was living in the basement. I wasn't getting a lot of sun. I was kind of like kind of a bit of a basement. So having a
A
depressed basement
dweller?
winter. Uh
You're dwelling in the basement?
yeah, but the house is done up here now. It's getting sunny outside. I'm having coffee in the backyard once in a while now and like getting outside and golfing a bit and trying to just I'm getting lots of work done. Went to the warehouse today, got the speakers packed up in the trailer and uh but it's been not the easiest last year, that's for sure.
Do you find like the more that you're not doing stuff, especially in the winter, like say from I think is like a false hope for everybody that you get that like a week between Christmas and New Year's where like you're seeing lots of people, you're talking, you know what I mean? It's so social that a person's brain is just like, man, things are wicked. And then like it's like January hits. And I feel like people like the more north you come, like the colder and all that shit, like man, January, February are drag.
Oh yeah.
And like to be like 1000% honest, like January and February is just a killer in Canada for people who don't live up here. Like between those 2 months, the amount of suicide that occurs, and I think most of it is just because like we have that seasonal bull crap up here that just a person has to battle in the winter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm 100% one of those people that has to battle every winter. I uh I I have not been to that like those lows that some people have experienced. That knock on wood, I've had some tough winters, but I definitely try and not try. I definitely make an effort to go somewhere warm for a while and go get some golf in once in a while and you know but for me it's tougher when it's less busy. Like I'm better when I'm busy doing stuff. And I
Yeah.
don't like the word busy because I feel like it has some negative connotations. Like I don't want to be busy. I want to be effective and I want to be spending my time on things I want to be doing. But the winter can drag for me for sure. I need to figure out how to do better with the winter because it's like I'm the least
Oh
busy then,
man,
but I also need the
everybody.
time to recover too and get
Yeah.
feeling better because I get run pretty ragged in the second part of the year a lot of times.
Hell yeah. I think everybody's like that. I know I find it too. Like I feel like the first warm day is like the first warm day where snow starts melting. You're just like, oh, thank God.
It's relief.
like,
It's
like
definitely relief.
it's gonna get nice, and
Yeah.
it's true, man. Everybody gets that grind. It's tough, and man, it's crazy to see people still to this day, ages 30 plus, like man, and you know what? If you got a good core group of friends, man, and people that you can always count on or give a quick phone call to, they're worth they're priceless actually because
Yeah.
I mean those people care about you and they want to talk to you and use them.
I agree. I agree
I'm lucky.
100%.
I'm lucky. I got a great friend group and a great partner and you know what I mean people that I can do that too.
Hmm.
But yeah, like, and if you don't think you do, hit me
Just
up
pick
on
up the phone.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Hit me up on Facebook. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. Same here. Um, James, do we have anything else for this episode?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining us once again. I am inside the Brahma Boot Studio here in Calgary, Alberta, and well, I went pretty heavy on the boot education last show, so I won't go that far in the boot education. But make sure to check them
I
out, CanadaWestBoots.com. Check out where you can find all your local retailers, where you can buy the boots, get yourself fitted up, and wear some Canadian-made cowboy boots, or some work boots, or some casual shoes to make some great boots.
just new boot goof.
Go ahead and treat yourself. Get
Yeah,
yourself some new boots and go just do some new boot goofing. Be fun.
hell yeah. And Calgary Stampede's coming up. So you're gonna
Exactly.
want to you want to get thinking about purchasing them boots
All right,
because
the rodeo season's coming up. You
sore feet wreck your night.
can wear those leather soles outside again, and they won't get demolished in the winter snow.
Yep.
Right? You could change your soles like spring, like May, boom, leather soles. All winter, not so much on the leather soles, but then boom,
No.
go to leather soles. Then you're back. It's spring is back when you can wear the leather soles.
Leather sole season is what they
Leather
call it.
sole, just like straw season. I saw somebody with straw hat the other day. Friday, Donnie came with me and he was wearing a straw hat. I was like, I almost could have done that today, Donnie. It's almost warm enough.
Yeah.
For me, it's
I
like
feel
May
like
long.
he may be groundhog of the straw hat.
You
When
what, sorry?
Donnie's wearing he's the groundhog of straw hats.
Oh,
So
that's a good
when
point.
you see him doing it, then it's like felt in the box, straw out. The
You know,
groundhog spoken.
you know who else I saw had one the other day was Terry Jones. Terry Jones and Pinoca at Jones Boys, a proud
Another.
supplier of Brahma Boots.
Yep.
He had a straw hat on, and it was like April 30th, and I was like, "Whoa, Terry, it's pretty early in the year to be wearing a straw hat." I don't know, and he's like, "Well, it's pretty warm out."
Yeah.
So I haven't adjusted, I haven't adapted yet. I'm a little bit of a late adapter on this, but might have to get after it.
I oh no, I wore a straw in Eckville.
You did it.
Yeah, I had to. Well, it was plus 29 or something.
Oh goodness, okay, that's allowable then. It's time.
It's you're sweating in a felt.
That's true.
So yeah, straw season's here, kids.
Might have to do it. Okay. Well, thanks again, once again, from the Brown Boot Studio in Calgary, Alberta. I'm Ted Stovin. He's James Foley. Enjoy the show this week, folks. Thanks for joining us. From the Brahma Boot Studio in Calgary, Alberta, we've got our next guest, five-time PRCA World Champion Bulldogger, the host of the Luke Branquinho Show, also on Cowboy Channel now. Big news just happened on May 7th. But please welcome to the show, Luke Branquinho. Thanks for joining us.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me come on.
Yeah, we the service is a little bit tricky today in your part of the world.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. We, had something scheduled and I went to try to hit the link and it kept saying not happening. And I'd send pictures to Casey to say, I don't know what's happening. It wouldn't even send those. So I think we have something up top that I don't know much about, wasn't getting signals, but it sounded like it was everywhere. It just wasn't my phone.
Not your fault. Not your fault. Well, I'm glad we could still make it work today, Luke, but we're right in the middle of a few big events. The PBR World Finals is happening in Texas, 2 weekends of competition, but there's a big event that I specifically want to talk with you about because you came out of retirement, I guess, for the American this winter. And I guess I got to ask about that a little bit first, but then we got to talk about Kid Rock's Rock and Rodeo. I got a lot of questions for you on that, but let's talk about the American first. Just that just finished up a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so coming out of retirement was something I joked about very lightly and never even really considered doing it. And we were at the finals and we were doing the post show for Teton Ridge, and our host Katie Kaufman, who we just love and adore. It was myself, Katie, Casey Field, and Stetson Wright. And obviously Stetson's coming back out because he was injured. It wasn't like he retired. And then Casey kind of brought up the point of, hey, I've been getting in shape. I've been working out. And just jokingly, I said, well, maybe I'll come back out of retirement. And Katie just makes a snarky comment like, oh, that ship has sailed. And, after that comment, I was like, well, maybe it hasn't sailed. Heck, I don't know. Funny enough, we get home like 3 days after the NFR and I jumped 3 steers and it felt great and just kind of rolled from there.
And so Casey mentioned getting in shape and I didn't know you personally probably 10 years ago, and I guess we really haven't had many conversations. I said I appreciated your work. I think I was at the Mandalay Bay after something. I think it was the draft for Kid Rock's first show. And I was like, Luke, I
Right.
really appreciate it and I like what you're doing. You're doing a hell of a job. And having seen you at the finals on the media side of things back then, I don't know where you're at fitness wise, but I want to say you're probably in some of the best shape of your life right now too.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, when we moved out of California about 3 years ago, that was kind of at the retirement stage. A guy that's done something for so long and has had a lot of success. That was a hard pill to swallow, and I kind of, I don't want to say I hit depression, but I think I kind of hit depression, and it didn't show outwardly towards many people. I think my wife Lindsay could see that something wasn't right. And I tried to find, like, what is it, since I'm not steer wrestling anymore, I'm not traveling, I'm not seeing, really family outside of my, you know, blood family. That's what those guys are that I rodeo with. What do I need to do? What can I do to kind of fill this void of competition and self-worth? And I just started going to the gym. The boys would have school. One would have to be there at 6, and then the other ones didn't have to be there till like 7:15. So I had an hour in between, and I thought, what could I do? And I started going to the gym. They have a 24-hour card lock gym there, and I started going to the gym and piddling around, not doing anything serious. And then kind of started to get a little more serious about it. Again, this was 3 years, 2.5 years ago. And Kate Coward is a good friend of ours, and she is a trainer. She sent me a program. I have an app on my phone, and I go through this, and I've been doing that for 2.5 years. And man, I tell you what, I am in the best shape that I've ever been. I've had to feed that competitiveness in me somehow. And I felt like, although I don't win any money at the gym, I guess I'm winning maybe extra years on my life.
Well, and so what's your workout program? What are you doing?
I mean, it's everything. Kate has a program, a True Coach or something. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's an app. And every Monday she sends a week's worth of workouts. And, one day it might be a push pull, core exercises, back, shoulders, legs. I mean, it's a variety of things with a little bit of, cardio mixed in there and warm-ups. It is amazing, but it does take time. Like there was a minute there where I'm like, man, I'm not seeing much change. But a person has to realize it's a process for you to actually be able to see change in muscle tone and all that. And again, it's been a fun journey.
So you won 5 world titles between like in your within 14 NFR qualifications. There were injuries along the way. Probably I want to say you had at least one season or a couple seasons where you probably had to get a shoulder or a knee redone or something.
Oh
And
yeah, 2000. Yeah.
2000 which, sorry?
2005, I had my pec repaired. So, missed all of that year. 2000, was it 17 rotator cuff, 18 bicep, 19 my knee. COVID hit in 20. I didn't have a very good winter and couldn't catch up. And then in 21, blew my hamstring out. And that was when I kind of thought, this might be time to hang it up.
Huh. But you're in your best shape ever now. Like what more do you think
Yeah.
you could have done in your span of active competition where you're going every season if you were in this kind of shape then?
That's a question that I've been asked many times, especially in the last year. And honestly, I don't know. I can't answer that because I felt like I was making runs on steers guys weren't able to win on, and I was able to win on them. So whether I'm in any better shape, was I going to win any more on those steers? Probably not. So I mean, there's obviously part of me says, well, if I would have took the effort and gotten to this good a shape, maybe I'd have 6, 7, 8 gold buckles. Or in reality, maybe I would have put too much stress and pressure on my muscles and tendons. I would have got hurt more and not won near as many. So, I mean, I think everything that happened to me in my career was part of the plan. And what's happening now is part of the plan.
Well, and I was curious about this coming into the show when Casey suggested it, and I was like, he's doing such a great job on the broadcasting side of things. Where did that begin? What was that process like? I haven't heard that story yet.
Yeah, so 2000, I believe it's 2004 when the U.S. Army picked up a handful of us cowboys. Part of the deal was we had to go to media training. So we flew back east and sat down in a room with professional people, in the media in side of things, and they taught us really how to speak to somebody with a microphone in your face, how to talk to the camera, how to act and react in those situations. And that was a 2-day process, and that helped me a bunch, especially having the success I did, getting interviewed as much as I did, and just being able to have a conversation with the interviewer. And then I can't remember exactly what year it was. I was hurt, so I didn't make the American. And Randy Bernard called me and said, "Hey, we'd love to have you on the broadcast." And I'm like, "Oh shoot, okay, I don't know much about this," but and it kind of really went from there. Again, thank the Army for making us go through that media training, and again, people I've worked with in my career has made my job so much easier. All I do is I'm just a talking dummy up there telling people about the sport that I love and got to have the success I had in.
But I think one of the more important things on the broadcasting side of things are the specific parts of breaking down a run and making it easier for the average fan to understand. Or for me, somebody that's never really bulldog, like I had friends that were teaching me how to do it in my, I guess you'd call it the senior year of high school in the US, where I was like working on the ground and we were shoot dogging and like I'm 5'8", so I'm tiny, right? Like I'm not actually going to be a bulldogger, but it was fun to hang out with those guys a night or two a week, and they were showing me the stuff on the ground and they were pulling them over for me, but they were saying, yeah, you got to do this, this, and this. And if I hadn't broke my collarbone that spring in the bull riding, I probably would have actually entered in high school rodeos and jumped one with those guys. Like I was considering it to like,
Yeah.
but for me, like I don't really know a lot of the stuff on the bulldogging side of things, but you do a great job of explaining it and breaking it down and making it, but being specific. It's not like, oh yeah, that guy made a great run. It was a good run. The steer ran hard and the horse worked. Like, no, why did that work? Like, I want to know the specifics and exact points. And his butt was too high in the air, so wasn't in the right position.
Yeah.
There's so many different things on a bulldog and run. On the hazing side of things, like those guys don't get enough credit either. But I agree
Absolutely.
with the specifics because the generalities don't work.
Well, and to your point, I do feel like when I first started, I would overanalyze the run and almost confuse the viewer. And I had somebody tell me, said, "Hey, you're doing a great job. You speak well, but don't give so much information you confuse them. Try to make it as simple as possible and as short as possible." And I feel like just hearing that, it made a ton of sense. I'm going to break down some of the points that I feel like the viewer needs to see and what made the difference in the run. And then after that, maybe the next cowboy that go to a different part of a run that I didn't explain in the previous one. And I think that made a big difference. You don't want to confuse the viewer by giving them too much information, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean. There's definitely a fine line.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do we have, I guess we kind of covered that side of it. Let's go to Kid Rock show. The Rock and Rodeo, May 16th, AT&T Stadium. What did you think of last year?
Man, first off, Sean Gleason came to me before last year's Kid Rock and Rodeo, and he's like, "Hey, I got a great idea. What do you think of it? I want you to be a coach." And I said, "Man, that's awesome. I'm all in. I think that's great." And then a few months go by, I hadn't heard from Sean, and I walked up. I can't remember if I seen him or he called me. I can't remember. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm not going to have you as a coach." I'm like, "Oh, all right, that's best of luck. I think it's a great idea." He said, "I want you as the commissioner." And I was like, "Oh crap, the commissioner?" He's like, "Yeah, I need you to help organize and ramrod a bunch of stuff with these athletes and the coaches and stuff like that." So, yeah, I've got to be right in the middle of, the inception of Kid Rock and Rodeo to where we're at now. And it was amazing. I'd never seen anything like that before. So to be a part of it, kind of on the ground floor building it, was pretty cool. Obviously, it went a little longer than we wanted last year, so we're doing some things to tighten it up quite a bit. And it's going to be a great event like it was last year. Just we're going to shorten it up, and you're still going to get all the same excitement of Bronx, Bears, timed events, which most people told me they said we love rodeo. Timed events is always good, but what happened at the Kid Rock and Rodeo, timed events were the greatest thing they've ever seen.
So for those that don't know, maybe you didn't get to watch last year, the timed events and even the barrel racing, correct me if I'm wrong, but like all of them, it was a head-to-head wins.
Yeah, so red, yellow, green light drag race style start, and it's one arena, so it's not like we're in separate arenas, which is pretty wild. And yeah, red, yellow, green. It doesn't matter if your horse is facing backwards or the steer's looking at you. the gate opens and you got to go. So it's pretty simple for the fans in the arena to see. Whoever gets them steer down fast or hands up fast in the tie down roping, those are your winners. And very exciting, very fun. Always something happening.
What was the feedback from the contestants on that format? I can see some that if their horse wasn't lined up right, like you're saying, or if a steer's head or a calf's head was down, if they weren't quite ready in the box, or like I bet those guys were like, oh yeah, this is terrible. But the other guys that did well would love it. But if you break down the average time of a timed event in the bulldog, and you're going to be anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5, like they're all going to be very similar, the ones that go well. So there are probably a lot of those runs that are super close that are like really exciting and fun to watch when they line up right.
Yeah, absolutely. And in all honesty, there wasn't really any athlete that had anything negative to say. They all loved it. It was something they'd never experienced before or seen before. So to be a part of it for the first time, they were pumped. They were excited. Like this is pretty sweet.
I asked Sean yesterday if there's a Kid Rock tour in the works, and he said we're working on it. Can you speak to that at all?
I cannot. I'm not at liberty to say, but yes, I have heard that there may be more coming down the road, which is awesome because it's just another event for rodeo. To me, helps grow the sport and enhance the sport. And when you have a guy like Kid Rock behind you pushing it, how can you ask for anything better?
So this has been something on my mind for the last couple days since I knew we were going to do this show. And I've never had this conversation with you before about the production side of rodeo versus PBR. And now, you made your living for 20 years in the PRCA. And now you're on the broadcasting side. Teton's a big player. Cowboy Channel's a big player in that space now. Randy created the American, sold it to Teton, or sold it to RFD?
RFD, yeah.
And then they sold to Teton, right?
Yeah,
So,
Cowboy Channel Teton, yep.
yeah, because Teton bought the Cowboy Channel this winter, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, being a rodeo guy for so long, Luke, what are your thoughts on the PBR side of things and them producing their own shows? I talked to Sean about it the other day, and I compared it to McDonald's having a Big Mac being the same everywhere you go. No matter which McDonald's you're going to, you're going to get the same Big Mac. If you go to a PRCA rodeo in Monroe, Louisiana, or you go to one in Kitimat, Washington, it's a totally different product wherever you go. Where on the PBR side of things, it's a pretty similar show no matter where you go. It's teams, yeah, Unleash the Beast is different, but the PBR is producing all their own shows where every rodeo is an independent show. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that side of things. It's my personal opinion that rodeo is stagnated at times inside the association's boundaries because the associations are essentially administrators. They don't actually produce any of their own shows. But
yeah, I mean that's a whole that's a whole subject in its own. And I mean, just up front, I feel like what is it? All high tide raises all ships.
yeah,
And the problem with our industry is egos. I'm just going to come out and say it. Egos is the problem. We got four great associations, Western cowboy associations, and if we could all come together as one united front, there's no telling where this sport can go. And I'm not saying it's going to be as big as football or baseball because we have the animal rights issues, obviously, but we could enhance this sport so much more if we would all join forces, come together, and it won't ever happen. Unfortunately, I don't feel like it'll ever happen because you got the PRCA, who's been the kingfish and rodeo forever, and they're not going to let anything go. And obviously, you have the PBR, which is the bull riding mecca. They're not, I don't know that they're going to want to let anything go. WCRA is doing a lot for the Cowboys. I think they'd be willing to dang sure work with them. Teton, they're kind of new in the industry, but these four groups could just make this whole Western industry, the cowboy lifestyle, rodeo, bull riding, anything Western, they could blow it up. Again, I don't know that it'll ever happen, and I'm not going to push it because I got friends and family. I mean, really, they're like family in every one of them. How to make it work, I don't know. But yeah, to your point, I think rodeo can get stagnant at times, but at the same time, that's the nature of the beast. I mean, that's just the way it is.
The four different groups like you're mentioning, and like what my thought was yesterday talking to Sean, it was like the there's nowhere inside the PRCA or Canadian Pro Rodeo inside the current structure where the Kid Rock event would ever fly. Like it has to be an independent
Right.
new feature because it's not ever going to work inside the walls of those associations.
Well, and you could even take, the American for that matter, sometimes it counts, sometimes the money doesn't count. It just kind of depends, who does not want to see a cowboy have a chance at that much money and count towards a world championship? I mean, there's so many, I don't know, there's so many different ways you could look at it and say, why wouldn't we let this count? Well, if you count the American, you got to give every cowboy the opportunity to compete in it. Well, yeah, you do, but if I want to go play in Major League Baseball, I just don't get to go sign up to a team and throw the ball or hit the ball. I got to go through every step to get there. But then they go, well, these Cowboys paid a membership, so they're part of the association. And listen, I get it. I've been on both sides of it, but you got to understand that, to be great, you got to put in the work, put in the effort, and really have a selfish lifestyle that's going to make you that way. And even though you're paying your membership, if you're not going to go out and do the work I did to have the success I did, then I appreciate you being part of our membership, but you know, maybe you don't get to go to this one unless you work your ass off to get to that point.
And you went through your entire career, the start of your career. I was looking back, you won the Calgary Stampede in 2001 when it was a PRCA rodeo, and you would have competed there all the way till well, you would have competed there the whole time. But
Yeah.
I was only in the steer riding in 2004, as when I was like 14, and that was like a Canadian Pro Rodeo event. It was the steer riding counted to the standings. But then in '06 it changes and goes to, the payout goes to $100,000. That's a check. I'm sorry I don't have this memorized, but that's a check you won at least. Did you win that? Did you win that one or did you not?
I never did. Thanks for rubbing that in.
Sorry about that. My bad.
Yeah.
You had a couple good years there. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, Calgary was always good to me. I never did win the big check, but man, you want to talk about a place that treated the Cowboys right, and you got paid well for not even, and you got paid well and nobody knew you were there.
Yeah. And like you might not have won the 100,000, but you definitely won the 50,000 in 2001.
No, that was just the aggregate. So in the $50,000 round, that was when Calgary was 2 and a short. So I'd won the second round, made it through. I think I come back second or third in the short round. Ended up winning the short round, winning the average, the aggregate. Then came back in the $50,000 round and didn't have any luck. But I've still had a lot of success there. And really, that win at Calgary in 2001 punched my ticket to my first national finals.
And that was without winning the 50,000, because everything that before those would have been the only checks that didn't count. Is that right? Everything else counted?
Yep. Everything else counted. That's right.
Okay. Anyways, I was looking at like Calgary. Did we like it better when it was 100,000 and it didn't count, or do we like it better now when it counts again? Like I'm curious what your thoughts are that way. Like I'm sorry, it's a bit of a different piece, but why shouldn't a rodeo like that count? It should be part of the association, but they for a long time, for almost 15 years or so, it was an independent show that didn't have any affiliation anywhere.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you're big enough like that, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have your money count because we're going to show up. We did in the past. Houston was the same way. You do not have to have the approval of the PRCA to get your top athletes there because you pay enough money. Same deal like the American. It pays enough money that you're not going to have to worry about not getting the top athletes. But yeah, to that point, I don't know why, as an association, you wouldn't want it to. Again, you have so many guys on the bottom that say, well, we bought our card, we should have the right to get into it. Well, you do through a qualification system. At the smaller rodeos, you go and work yourself up at those small circuit rodeos, get into the little bit bigger ones, keep winning. It might take you a year and a half to do it, but you have that opportunity. I just entered Nashville. I got to go up and do TV work for Teton. So I thought, hell, I'm going to enter the rodeo. And since I'm somewhat out of retirement, I guess, and I got drawn out due to qualifications. I haven't won enough money in the last year and a half. Was I mad? No. That's just the way it is. If I wanted to rodeo and go to those big rodeos that had big money, I need to get qualified and go to the smaller ones and win the money to get qualified.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are, even if you won the world 5 times.
Exactly.
Go qualify. Going back to Kid Rock show, the winning. So you talked about format a little bit. Can we expect on the side of the format changes? What are we looking at that way?
So we're gonna actually split the arena for the Broncs and Bears. There's gonna be a temporary fence up, and we're gonna knock those out at the very beginning. So all the Broncs and Bears, except obviously for the championship round, that we're gonna knock those out. Temporary fence. We're gonna have 2 judges down on the corner, 2 judges at the chutes. The judges down in the arena will watch both, and the judges at the chute will just score on that side. So trying to make it the fairest as possible. That should help speed up a lot of the Bears and Broncs. And then the timed fence, we're going to jerk that temporary fence down and roll right into it. And that's a format change that we did make, which we feel like will shave off quite a bit of time.
And so you're talking about having 2 bareback horses bucking at the same time and 2 Broncs bucking at the same time as you're going through those events?
Nope, it's going to be one right after the other. So, sorry. It's going to be one right after the other. We're going to have somebody nod their head in the bronc ride on Arena A, and as soon as the whistle blows, judge has got about 4 seconds, send in the scores, and then right to Arena B. And we're just going to alternate back and forth as fast as we can and get those knocked out.
And so that's the 10-man round, and then there's a short round in the second section kind of thing, correct?
Yeah, that's the six-man round, be 6 teams. So, each team will match up. So it'll be 6 rides in the first round, 4 in the second, 2 and 2.
Okay, gotcha. Right on. Well, what are some of your favorite parts of that new format as far as the way things go? Like, I gotta say, it's got to be the time event side of things. It's just never, I don't know, has that ever really been done before to match them up and go head to head? I just don't think that's really happened much before.
No, not with the coaching aspect either, and that's what's kind of neat on the coaches side. You got legends that have been there, done that, and not necessarily done that type of event, but they know the horsepower, they know the athletes they have, and they could, hopefully get matched up with how they need them matched up and try to get the championship. What I loved last year though was you have your free riders team, which is the WCRA. Their team will be comprised of Cowboys that win first and second at Corpus Christi if they're not already on a team, and then they'll roll down. And they dominated last year. They just came off the week before, these athletes with big wins in Corpus Christi, and they rolled right into Kid Rock's Rock and Rodeo and got the W for the team there. And that was really neat to see. And honestly, look forward. You could really think it could happen again.
And what about the camaraderie of the teams as far as that goes? Like, again, rodeo and teams is a new concept too.
Yeah, so talking to the athletes and being down on the arena floor and seeing it, you had team ropers on the back of the buck and chutes for the bronc riders, bareback riders. You had bronc riders, bareback riders down in the chutes helping push steers and calves for the breakaway and tie down roping, steer wrestling. So I mean, yeah, that you put the team in front of this event, and they come to it as a team.
And what about the competitive nature of the coaches? Like, that's a whole different ball game as well.
Oh, absolutely. Every one of those coaches obviously are competitors and have gold buckles. So anytime there's any type of drama or conflict, you could see that competitiveness coming out in them, and see some replay flags and things like that, and questioning why did that happen. But yeah, the competitiveness on the coaches, it's starting to heat up now.
If it's starting to heat up now, what's going on? Is there already some trash talk going on between some of these coaches? Or they already some of these teams are probably already been, I think I saw that the teams had already been picked for the most part too, right?
Yeah, all the teams are picked except the WCRA Freerider team. They'll get picked up there after Corpus. But yeah, I mean, there's always a little bit of trash talking going on. But here in about a week, we're going to start doing the matchups. So you'll go head-to-head matchups, and then it'll really start talking.
The what are the conversations going on so far with the coaches? Like, I don't even know how the draft picks work as far as who gets first pick and how does that even work right now?
Well, so the draft, last year's draft, we did a just a draw to see who would get to pick first. This year, we went with the number 6 team got to pick first all the way down to number 1, and then it was a snake draft. But that's how that draft pick worked. It's just a snake back and forth. But they had to drop one in each event this year and draft a new person, or if their guy they dropped wasn't picked up by another team, they could redraft their original person they dropped. So yeah, there was a lot of strategy behind it.
What else is involved in your commissioner role at this rodeo?
Just staying in touch, staying on top of it with the coaches, the athletes, getting stock, communication with Luke Kaufman and Dan Hickman, putting the arena together if there's anything they need from me. Um, just kind of people spitballing ideas off of me, making sure the barrier's set at the right spot, the eye that line of scrimmage and things like that. I mean, there's a whole team. Really, my job is to, I guess, kind of make sure the athletes, the coaches, and the contractors and everybody kind of are in that line. And communicating with Sean, there's a lot that goes into it, but not a lot that I really do as far as decision making. Just bouncing ideas off me. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? The PBR has done a great job with the team they put together to getting this done. I have a lot of calls with Robert Simpson and Jack Holmberg on rules and ground rules and all that. And you want to talk about two guys that are amazing and awesome. Jack and Robert are gold as far as I'm concerned. The only person I have to deal with that I really don't care much for is Alan Jordan. He's just whatever. Alan's Alan and getting judges and all that. But anyhow, just joking out.
Oh man. I like Alan. He's a pretty good guy. He's probably one of the only people you could say that about as a judge that he would probably get a kick out of
Oh yeah, and he's screwed me enough while I was steer wrestling that he kind of owes me. So.
it. Oh dear. Okay, your show's airing on the Cowboy channel. This is new for you. Talk about that a little bit before we wrap it up.
Yeah, so we've been doing the Luke Branquinho Show now for about 2 years, 2.5 years ish. My partner Bob Sullivan at Bandit Productions has been awesome. He's got his stuff together and making everything right. And we started on YouTube, which you could still go out and watch the very first episode on YouTube, and kept pushing it. Then we got on all the podcast platforms, and now we're actually linear TV. We're on 30 some stations across the United States. So, Atlanta, I'd get calls from people down in Georgia like, "Hey man, we saw your show," or up in Reno and just different places. And I'm like, "Well, what time were you up at night?" He's like, "I was on at the midnight hour." I'm like, "Well, at least we're on TV." But Bob's done a great job, cut the deal with the Cowboy Channel, and really, honestly, anytime we can get airtime is great. But when we're on the Cowboy Channel, that's even better.
Outstanding. Well, one question I ask all of our guests on the show is what their definition of cowboy shit is. So it wouldn't be right if I didn't ask you that one before we wrap it up, Luke.
Yeah, definition of cowboy shit. I mean, that's doing stuff nobody else wants to do. The tough stuff, the stuff that you got to grit your teeth, pull your hat down, and bear down to go get done.
Thanks for doing this today. Wish you the best of luck next week. And yeah, thanks for making the time. Thanks for making it work.
You bet. Appreciate it. Thanks, Ted.